Let me tell you something strange about silence in the digital age. We live in a world where everything, and I mean everything, is shared. Birthdays, coffee cups, gym session, sunsets, tears, breakups, vacations, success, and even pain wrapped in filters that make it look beautiful. And yet, some people stay completely invisible. They scroll quietly. They observe deeply. They exist without announcing it. You might know someone like that. A friend who never posts. A cousin who never updates anything. Or maybe you are someone like that. And the question everyone secretly has is simple. Why? Why would anyone choose to stay unseen in a world where everyone is fighting to be noticed? It's easy to assume they're shy, introverted, private, disconnected. But that's not the truth. Beneath that silence is an entire psychology at play, one that speaks about identity, perception, emotional maturity, and a quiet rebellion against a culture obsessed with visibility. Music shifts softly. See, silence is not emptiness. For some, silence is control, the power to choose what the world does not get to know. Because whether we accept it or not, social media has reshaped our sense of self. It rewards noise. It celebrates display. It praises visibility. And the people who stay in the shadows, they often see everything most clearly. They watch without interrupting. They think before reacting. They analyze before judging. Psychologists have found something fascinating. Those who don't post often score higher in introspection, emotional independence, and self-restraint. They're less affected by social comparison and external validation. In simple words, they don't need to prove who they are. They're trying to understand who they are. Soft pause. Because let's be honest, most of what we post isn't communication. It's identity crafting. It's an unconscious audition for acceptance. Every caption says, "This is who I am. Do you approve?" But when someone stops posting, something shifts inside them. They detach their worth from digital applause. They stop thinking in captions. They begin experiencing life for themselves again, instead of for an audience. And that's the psychology behind many silent people online. They crave authenticity in a world where everything feels staged. They don't hate social media. They just don't recognize themselves in it anymore. For them, it's not about being antisocial or anti-technology. It's about refusing to reduce life into curated highlights. Because once you understand how easily perception can be manipulated, you begin to value what can't be posted. Silence, depth, imperfection, truth. Music deepens. Some people stop posting after an emotional burnout. Maybe they once shared everything, every moment, every memory, until one day they realized something. They weren't living anymore. They were performing. They felt pressured to constantly outdo their last post. Every happy moment became content. Every achievement needed an audience. So they quit quietly. No announcement. Just a slow disappearance from the feed. But here's the truth people misunderstand. Not posting does not mean not feeling. Often it means the opposite. It means protecting what's sacred, guarding what's real, keeping moments pure and unshared. Psychologists call this psychological ownership, the feeling that something belongs deeply to you. And once you post it, that ownership fades just a little. The moment becomes shared property, open to judgment, misunderstanding, even mockery. So those who don't post are often guarding their life itself. Maybe that's not withdrawal. Maybe it's a quiet kind of freedom. Because think about it. When was the last time you experienced something meaningful and didn't think of posting it? When was the last time you saw something beautiful and didn't imagine how it would look on your story? That reflex is not natural. It's trained. It's the result of years of dopamine loops teaching us that validation equals value. So when someone chooses to step outside that cycle, it's not disinterest. It's discipline, a strong internal locus of control, meaning their happiness comes from within, not from a screen full of strangers. Studies show that people who take long breaks from posting often experience higher emotional stability and satisfaction. Because when your identity isn't constantly reflected back at you, it becomes real, solid, whole. You stop editing your life for consumption. You start living it messy, imperfect, and beautifully human. But silence isn't always serenity. Sometimes it's exhaustion. Sometimes it's fear. The fear of judgment, of being misunderstood, of being rejected. Social media amplifies what psychologists call self-presentational pressure, the constant awareness that you're being watched. And for some people, that's too heavy. They want to be seen, but truly, not superficially. And ironically, the quietest people online often have the loudest minds. They're not absent. They're overflowing. They just choose stillness instead of spectacle. Music softens. There's a deep philosophy behind the silence. In a world that screams, "Look at me," choosing invisibility becomes a form of self-definition. It's declaring, "I exist beyond your perception." They may scroll, smile, ache, and feel everything intensely, but they rarely project. Because they understand something most don't. Not everything meaningful in life is meant to be witnessed. Real transformation happens quietly. Growth, grief, healing, becoming, all of that unfolds off camera. And when you understand that, you stop needing to be seen all the time. You discover something no algorithm can replicate. Presence. When you stop posting, you notice who actually checks in on you, who remembers you without reminders, who values you without visibility. Those connections, raw, unbroadcasted, feel heavier, warmer, more real. Silent people live in that space. They build relationships that don't need proof. They find comfort in moments that don't need an audience. And maybe that's the purest form of confidence, being content without being displayed. Music rises gently. Some people say, "If you didn't post it, did it even happen?" But the truth is, the moments that shape you most rarely make it online. Your inner battles, your private victories, your quiet heartbreaks, your slow healing, your unspoken dreams. These are the moments that define you, and none of them need a camera. Authentic self-expression isn't about showing everything. It's about staying congruent, aligned with who you really are, not the persona you're expected to perform. And maybe that's why some people choose silence. Not because they have nothing to show, but because they have too much that's too real to expose. Those who live quietly often feel life the deepest. They notice the details, the way light moves across a room, the silence before someone speaks, the texture of a moment you can't capture in pixels. They're not detached, they're present. And presence is the rarest currency in a world built on attention. So don't mistake their silence for emptiness. It's depth. It's self-possession. It's the calm confidence of someone who doesn't need the world to clap to exist. Maybe the people who don't post aren't hiding. Maybe they're living. Maybe they've found peace in the quiet corners of life, the corners untouched by algorithms, opinions, and validation. Maybe they remembered what the rest of us forgot. That being unseen doesn't mean being insignificant. That being quiet doesn't mean being empty. And that's sometimes the truest expression of who you are. Is silence